Good evening, MUTA members. I'm speaking to you again as your bargaining chair. The district put out a statement regarding the 55% waiver that they did not meet. And in their phraseology, in their statement, they said the district has been unable to meet the state requirement. And I like that turn of phrase, but unfortunately I think it's inaccurate. When applying for the waiver, MUSD compared us to Fresno Unified, Clovis Unified, Central Unified, and Golden Valley Unified. Fresno, Clovis, and Central all made their state requirements. They did their duty according to Ed Code. Golden Valley and Madera Unified were the only two out of that group of 5 that MUSD provided as evidence that fell short of the 55%. Golden Valley, they were about $545,000 short. Madera Unified was $29 million short in meeting the educational code requirements for schools. I would like for you to keep in mind, please, that that is money that is supposed to be spent, according to Ed Code, directly on classroom resources. That means teachers, it means paras, it means resources used in the class, not more admin, not consultants. Resources that directly and powerfully impact student learning. There's a reason that most of a school budget needs to be spent there. Those are the resources that work with the kids, that teach the kids, that make the biggest impact on student learning. I would love for the district to have said, oh wow, we didn't make our 55%, so we're gonna give all the teachers a big fat check. Let's give them a big bonus check. That would have been awesome. They didn't have to give us a bonus check. They could have reduced class sizes. They could have hired more teachers, reduced class sizes. Every single piece of data that we have for the last 30 years says lower class sizes increases student outcomes. They didn't have to hire more teachers. They could have hired more paraprofessionals for remediation, for acceleration, to help the kids, right? That's what we're here for. They didn't do that also. I heard one of the board members say it was one-time money, so we couldn't use it on salaries. Okay, they can use it for salaries and personnel because it was one-time money. First of all, let me say it's not one-time money. We've gotten that money over several years. We didn't get it one time. It was extra funds for COVID, extra grant funds. It's been over the course of 5 or 6 years that we've gotten increased funding from the state. But just for the sake of keeping it honest, let's say you can't use that money for staff because it's one-time money. Except that Madera Unified ran a job last week that said we need an English language arts teacher, temporary position, only for the 25-26 school year at Torres High School. So you do know how to hire staff for 1 year. You do know how to hire more teachers and paras when it serves your needs, but you can't do it when it serves student needs. I don't understand how that works out. The math isn't working. Okay, the other thing is I put out a video and I said that with their own evidence, their waiver that they sent to Mix Sauce, it said that we made an excess of the other surrounding districts. Again, that's Clovis, that is Fresno, it is Central and Golden Valley, and us. We make an excess. And then there were comments that said, hey, no, 2D doesn't understand the difference between salary and benefits. In my other video, I went back to check and it said total compensation. At the top, it says salary and benefits. So those, us being in 5th place, us being last, even though they said we make the most, that is absolutely total compensation. We make the last, we make the least. So We uncovered this as an untruth. I'm not going to say a lie, but a misleading piece of information. These are all public documents, by the way. You can go look them up in the district office. The thing about public documents and the district is they've got thousands of public documents, so unless you know where to look, you don't know. Luckily, we have people uncovering stuff. So this one was not true. It was misleading. So then they said they were unable to because they have grants. They have specialized grants that make them unable to fulfill their requirements. They have kitchen grants and parking lot grants and I don't know what else kind of grants. We did get a lot of money in grants, and some of those grants are absolutely specialized grants. However, Fresno Unified made their 55% and got all those grants too. Wait, Clovis Unified, they got all those grants and they made their 55%. Wait, Central Unified also got all of those grants and were still able to provide the resources in the classroom that the state requires them to do. I'm going to take off my MUTA hat right here, and I'm going to put on my parent hat because I have been a parent in Madera Unified for about 20 years. I'm a Madera Unified person. I went to Madera Unified, but I'm a parent. I had a daughter in high school and in middle school during COVID. We went off on COVID. We were distance learning. The state threw money at all the districts. Threw money at it because the state knew that we were going to have decreased outcomes. The students were going to need a lot of help and a lot of supports, both at home and then when they came back to school. So did Madera Unified do that? Did they use that extra money to support the kids? No, they didn't increase the teachers. They didn't increase the number of paras. Quite honestly, I didn't go through those thousands and thousands of documents that are public documents because I can't read them. I've tried to look through a budget that was like 170 pages, and boy, I still don't know where that money went. Keep in mind, this is tens of millions of dollars, $29 million just last year. They've already budgeted a deficit in that 55% of $40 million for this year. Over the last 4 years, that 55% hasn't been met to the tune of about $65 million. So I would like all the parents to think about what the schools could have done for your children with $65 million extra dollars. How many more adults could have been in the room, working in small groups, doing remediation, helping the kids? Because remember, that's what the money was for. Extra money to help the kids with the learning loss that they suffered from COVID. But we didn't come back to extra supports in the classroom for the kids. We came back to status quo. We kept the personnel and kept all the money and did I don't know what. So the parent in me is kind of cringe right now. It's really bothering me. It's bothering the parent in me because I don't know what they're doing. I know I'm working for my kid. I know as a teacher I'm working for my students. But the politicians over there, I don't know who they're working for. Our client, we should have a shared client. It's the kids. The parents, the administrator, the teachers, the client is the students. We are here to do everything that we can to help our students learn. That's the job. So I'm not sure who thought it was appropriate to give them less, because that's what we did. We decided, not we, because I don't do the money, but someone decided the kids deserved less. They didn't need it. We couldn't do it because we didn't want to do it. I don't know. But the elected officials at the district made that decision. We went to a board meeting not long ago. Wait, I'm gonna take my parent hat off. I'm gonna put my bargaining chair union hat back on. We went to a board meeting the other day and implored the district the elected officials to not sign the waiver this year, to actually put that money in the classroom. And all 7 of them voted to sign the waiver again and say, yeah, we didn't need that $29 million in the class. But parents, make sure that you guys fulfill your school supply list, because we don't have enough money to get supplies for your kids. So the parents need to get the supplies for the kids. Make sure that you do this and do this and do this, but they're not willing to do what's required of them. The mechanism that's in place for a checks and balance, which is, again, Mixed Sauce. There's a new person at Mixed Sauce now, new superintendent. Her name is Tricia Protzman. Hi, Tricia. She supposedly has the waiver on her desk. I don't know if she's going to sign it or not. I do know that their validation, their excuse isn't valid according to the evidence that they gave to her. So I hope she doesn't sign it. I hope she sends a clear message to the district that our students deserve better. They deserve more. They deserve what they're promised, right? So right now, I just got an information dump, and that information dump said we had over 40 staff vacancies because we can't recruit teachers, and when we get them, they're resigning, because last year 81 teachers resigned. That's not counting the people that didn't do well and they got let go. That's not counting the people that retired because they were that age. That's just the people that said, I quit. I can't do this anymore. Every year that number is climbing. We're having a hard time recruiting teachers, which is why we still have so many vacancies, and we're having a hard time keeping teachers. That's why we have so many resignations. And the district is unwilling to do anything about that. And that's unfortunate. It's not fair to our kids. So please, MUTA members, share this with your friends. If you grew up in Madera, if you live in Madera, share this with all the parents you know, because this is public record and they deserve to know what's going on in their kids' schools. Thank you.